Son up, July, man. Welcome to the scene where we talking about the streets and what's in between. Race, politics, devotion, and community.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to A World Between. This is number two, and we're going to talk about what does wellness look like for Black women. And we are going to divide this up in four different sections, but today we're going to talk about physical wellness. And I can't help but to introduce our hosts for today.
Hi, it's me, Ellen, again. A little bit about me: former attorney, current professor, former caregiver. Excited about today's topic.
And I'm Elise, realtor, entrepreneur, and I'm also excited about today's topic.
And I'm Eileen, entrepreneur, HR professional, and artist. And welcome to A World Between.
Son up, July, man. Welcome to the scene where we talking about the streets and what's in between. Race, politics.
So, like we said, today we're going to talk about physical wellness, right? And physical wellness to me, it's just when we said we are going to talk about this subject, it really resonated with me, because physical wellness is and activity is important. But I want to kind of give you the definition because went to go look it up just to make sure, everybody's on the same page as when we're talking about it. So when I looked it up, it says physical wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health outcomes. So instead of just surviving, you are thriving. That part kind of stood out to me, thriving, you know. And I want to talk a little bit about what kind of was my aha moment. So in 2022, I got this job, and it was, a great job, whatever. And so one of the things they had was a fire drill. And I was like, oh, fire drill. Okay. It's the first month. Okay. So we had to go outside, and then the elevators didn't work because it's a fire drill. So you had to walk up 2 flights of stairs. And when I tell you there were like women in their 60s or older passing me by because I was like, I had a hard time walking up the steps. So I was like, I have to do something. So that's my moment when I realized, okay, I am out of physical shape. So what about you guys? Do you all have any moments or?
Yeah, so for me, it was a situation where I was talking to a therapist, and was talking about some depression that I was experiencing.
Mm,
And one of the things that she told me was to start working out. And I had told her before that I had already, I had been working out, but because of my current situation and environment, it was difficult for me to continue to work out. So she was like, "Trust me, go back and start working out again." And she said that it would improve your mood. So what I didn't know about working out is that there's a lot of neurochemicals that are released.
Ellen, what about you? Did you have any aha moments?
I had several aha moments in 2022 after my mom passed, but I'm just going to touch on a couple. I went in for routine blood work because I just wasn't feeling right, and my doctor called me immediately and said, "You have diabetes." And that to me was the scariest moment because I had a grandmother who had diabetes, who had lost a leg, and I had bought a treadmill because I was going to do some walking, but I just knew I really needed to do something drastic. Last week we talked about so yeah, I had to do something drastic. And I got a trainer and I started working out, and my friend was like, "Oh, Ellen, you're gonna love working out." I go, "Girl, I am never gonna be one of those people. I can tell you now, who's gonna love working out." And almost a year and a half, 2 years later, I am one of those people who actually enjoys working out. Like I don't feel right unless I work out. So that was my aha moment: being diagnosed with another health illness, chronic health illness that could be prevented. Really just shocked me. So I knew that I had to do something.
Yeah. And just to jump in a little bit, we go to the same trainer. So at first, I did not want to go. I was like, this is too much money to pay. I was not going to go. But
She
then,
was. I was really shocked, like because I was like, Nikita, we gotta go. I mean, I call her Nikita. And she was adamant. I don't even know what was a turning point that got her. And I'll be honest, I think both of us didn't think we were gonna go forever. Not that we know we're gonna, but we didn't. We thought it would be a temporary thing, just get us right on track. But it has been really, really a good experience. When I say that, it's like going to school and learning about your health and wellness, things that I thought I knew, but I really didn't, you know? So,
But I will add that developed into something else. And it wasn't just the physical aspect. The physical aspect took you to that place, but what came from that also was the building of community. And sometimes they're very shy about mentioning the building of the community, but because I'm part of the community, I can say this. We started out with just doing a text message string of other women who needed accountability. And as we went through and the group started getting bigger and bigger, we decided, or not we, but Ellen started a Facebook group. And so now there's a Facebook group of women who are accountable to other women for getting your physical wellness together, and they're sharing tips and exercises and recipes and things like that. So it's not just about the physical wellness. And I think we'll get into this as we go along with this topic, but physical leads to mental and emotional and to a lot of other aspects of wellness. But then from there, they started their Instagram, which is
Twins Transforming on Instagram. And it just started out, it's just like, because I had surgery and my sister was working out. I'm like, oh, let me tape you a little bit. And so I started taping her workouts, and people were like really responding to that, which I was shocked.
me
Um,
too. Me
I
too.
really was. People were really, really responding in a positive way. And so we started taping each other, and then we started just being vulnerable and honest about this journey. And it's going to be a lifelong journey. And like my trainer says, fall in love with the journey. It's a destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey, right?
Right. And it's not even
So,
just the physical part of it. Like she said, like we're transforming mentally, spiritually, and all that stuff. Because, like I said, when you start feeling better and you start working out and you start to develop this confidence that you've never had before, ever. So, yeah.
and we can
yeah.
talk about the connection between physical wellness, like being physically active, and how it really helps your brain. I've noticed that the more that I exercise, the better I am in my job. I have more energy. My students are like, "Oh, Professor Usser, you are so energetic," and I'm like, "Really?" I mean, but it's those endorphins. I know it's those endorphins that I'm getting in the morning that's
Mhm.
helping me throughout the day. Like,
And can I
yeah.
just give you this one example? Like at work, we have this copier that's kind of far away. And it's so funny. Like I'll see this one lady, like she will be walking to the copier, and I'll walk and walk back, and then walk back again. The copy, she's still walking back from the copier. You know what I'm saying? It's just I can tell like she said, it just makes you. I don't want to say get a little pep in your step when you work out. You know what
You.
I'm
It is
saying?
a pep. You do get that pep in your step. You can say it.
So,
Yeah. It's definitely endorphins, dopamine, serotonin. There's so many chemicals that are released within your brain when you do have building a habit of actually exercising. And I'll admit, for me, I am not a fan of exercising. I went for years telling people that I was allergic to exercise. Um, and I found out that because we talk a lot about exercise, but I think there's an aspect of nutrition that we also have to bring up. And the reason why I say this is because maybe you've noticed there is the big back community. And so
What is that for people who don't know?
the
Yes.
big back community, and I am a member of the big back community and Facebook, but only because I like to look at pictures of food. But the big back community is a community, it's mostly African American, but it's mixed of people who eat a lot, basically. And it's not necessarily eating healthy, but just to give you an idea of some of the things that people will eat. They turn oxtails into everything, whether it's oxtail pasta, oxtail pizza, salads that have one leaf of lettuce on it. But and so the big back community is people who are shamelessly big back. So my point in saying that is just that we have to be concerned with our nutrition, how many hours of sleep that we're getting, because that all adds into our physical wellness. It all adds into the health of our temple. So speaking of temple, you may have heard people say that your body is your temple. And so we have to treat it like that. We have to treat it like it's a sacred space. But there are some challenges that people face as they're trying to really take care of their temple.
And to
Um,
piggyback on what Elise was saying, when we talk about the whole idea of your body being your temple from a religious standpoint, we always think in terms of sexuality and sex. But really, I'm learning, I think we all are on this journey, that it's taking care of your body, what you eat, what you do, walking it, exercising it, building your muscles. Your body is a temple truly in every aspect of the idea, because this is the only one you're going to get in this lifetime. And it's our responsibility, it doesn't matter how late you get it, to take care of our bodies. But like she's saying, there are some challenges that we face. We talk about the importance of community and other things. So we're going to transition to talking about the challenges that we have been facing on our physical wellness journey.
And one of the things they say that the biggest challenge is time. We spend so much time taking, especially as Black women, taking care of other people. Our whole life is centered around making sure everybody else around us is okay. But time is something you have to carve out. And so one of the things I realize is that I may not can do a whole hour of physical activity. So you can break it up, like maybe 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes on your lunch hour, or 15 minutes in the evening. And that's 45 minutes of physical activity. So I think that's the first thing that people talk about, is not having enough time.
And,
and
oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, when you were talking about when do you fit it in, I am a believer in what I call potty squats. And as you're
Mm,
taking care of your body, you should be drinking more water. And what that means is that you're going to be running to the bathroom multiple times. So when I worked, and you can do this anywhere, when I worked in corporate, I would go to the bathroom, and while I was in the stall, I would do 20 squats. And then, I would, be done. And so during the course of the day, you get 100 plus squats during the course of the
mm,
day. So you always have an opportunity. You just have to think of it more creatively, especially if you have a lot on your schedule.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what can I just shout out my gym, Train to Perform. One of the things that my trainer says, and like when he said at the beginning, I was like, okay, whatever. He's like, you have to incorporate your fitness into your life. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So even like this year, I have to have office hours. I have to teach, obviously, but I incorporated my fitness into my day. So I have set aside a certain time of day for me to walk. It doesn't interrupt, it doesn't interfere with any of my obligations, but that is my time to myself. We give our time to our employers. We have to give our time to ourselves, and make it work if it's important, and it should be important. I think you don't want to get a diagnosis like I did to catapult you into thinking about your fitness. So even though work and time can be a challenge, you have to work around it because again, you make time to fit in what's important to you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, the other thing I would mention, but before I do that, can I go back to when we were talking about your body being your temple, and not even from a religious perspective, but I think as women we have to think about sacred spaces. We have to think about holding our bodies, and it's not just our bodies. Because our body is protecting a lot of things. The body is protecting the mind. The body is protecting the heart. The body is protecting our sexual organs. So if we see our body as a sacred space, what would you do if you had a sacred space or a sacred garden and the most important part of you was in the middle of that garden? How would you protect it? How would you make sure that you preserved that garden? And I think if we say, okay, my mind is the most important to me, or my heart is my most important to me, or my time is most important to me, how do you have that most important part in the middle of your garden, and what do you do to protect that? So that was just my little added that I wanted to go back. But I did want to also talk about um, some challenges, especially for women, because I'm a woman of a certain age. I'm going through perimenopause, and my body looks and feels different than when I was in my 20s or my 30s. Um, and so I have to approach it a little bit differently, because what worked for me then definitely doesn't work for me now. I used to be able to get away with walking 30 minutes, and that just doesn't it just doesn't work for me
Listen,
Look,
anymore.
we can all relate to that. We're like, what is going on?
yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, so I think that it's important that when you're looking for how do you enhance your physical health, that you assess what works for you, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of gurus out there that say stop eating sugar, eat high protein, do a lot of cardio, don't do cardio, lift weights. Well, for me, I can't eat a lot of protein. As I'm aging, it's a large possibility that I might have to have a vegetarian or a vegan diet. So you just have to make sure that you're assessing what's going on. And unfortunately, there's not as many there's not a lot of opportunities for a lot of people to exercise. Like maybe there's no gym in your area. Maybe you don't have the finances to go to a gym. So finance can be a challenge for you as well. But you have to think about creative ways for you to get your physical health taken care of.
And
And
I live in a place that has a garage indoors and outdoors, and I see older people walking the garage or walking the hallways and going up and down the stairs. So again, even if you don't have access to a gym or a trainer, use your resources. YouTube has walking away the pound. I mean, everybody has YouTube. If you have a phone, access to YouTube. There are exercise videos on YouTube. I say just incorporate it the best way that you can, what is feasible for you. Because if you want it, you can get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely good at making excuses, because I would rather do 1,000 other things than go to the gym. I can't lie. I'm that person.
And that's the name of our group on Facebook, No Excuses Women's Health.
Yeah.
Because there really aren't any. Not unless you are debilitated. You have an illness where you can't. If you have
And I'll be honest, I work out, really hard but I never just be like, oh yes, I'm so excited to work out. I never have that feeling, but I feel good afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It is a feeling that I can't explain, especially since I'm learning to run. I I never have that feeling before, but afterwards, I feel good.
I don't even feel good afterwards. It's just a chore to me.
Okay.
And then, and then, okay, so I'm going to say this because I kind of mentioned it before, and because there may be other people who are challenged with this. Because I said that I was allergic, and we have a mutual friend who's like a workout person, and I was telling her that I was allergic to working out, and she was like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." Well, come to find out, I really am. But this is where nutrition comes in,
Okay.
because I already knew that I had food allergies. I'm
Mm,
very specific about the things that I eat. What I didn't realize is that when I was working out, I would have an allergic, after I work out, I would have an allergic reaction. Like I would be itching all over, palms would be sweating, bottoms of my feet would be itchy. If you have food allergies, what could happen is you might be eating something that is normal for you to eat, and when it goes down, your body doesn't affect your body. But when it comes out, the toxins that are in the food or the toxins that are in your body because of what you're eating can come out, and you can have an allergic reaction to those things. The only way
mm,
I found this out is because, again, aging, I had to totally think about my nutrition differently. I didn't have a problem with peanut butter, but now I have a problem with peanut butter. But it's not when I eat it, it's when I work out. Um,
mm.
so I didn't have allergies to certain things, but now I have to think about those foods differently. Um, because when they come out through your sweat, it can also cause an allergic reaction. That's not saying don't work out. Don't
Right,
think
right.
that. What I'm saying is watch what you eat.
I want to talk about, like we talked about earlier, community and how important it is to have a community. And I think for us, going to a gym with other people, it's kind of like my family. You're in a community with people who are there to support you. And then I would say a challenge is people can be a challenge just as much as people can be supportive in you changing. People can be a hindrance, and I don't use the word haters, but people can be hater-ish. And I think when you put yourself out there, especially us with Twins Transforming and our group, you have to cancel out the noise, because not everybody is going to be for you and happy for you as you're changing. Um, you are going to develop. I know I have, and then I don't know if you guys have to share. My self esteem has gone up tenfold, and the things that I would to do or be a part of in the past, I'm just not. And then you'll have people giving you their tips, people who are not your trainer, who are not your nutritionist, who are not your doctor, telling you what you need to do.
And my biggest thing is people keep saying, why do you want to lose more weight? You're gonna lose your curves, and I'm like, I'm trying to be healthy. I don't care. I mean, yes, curves are great, but I just want to be healthy and physically fit, and I don't care what other people think.
Right,
I
right.
really
And then
don't.
they'll tell you not losing weight fast enough, or you look the same, or you shouldn't. I'm kind of transferring some issues, but I think, those are the challenges. You have to keep going. Like, you may not have a scale victory, but you have non-scale victories. Like clothes I couldn't wear before are too big now. That's a victory to me, because
It
they were
is.
like a 3X. So in spite of people, in spite of the journey not going exactly, because it's just like life. Life goes up and down, left and right. What you plan, like I plan to be a certain size or a certain dress size or a certain weight, I may not be there, and that's okay. You have to kind of know that it's all about the journey for us, and you can't let outside noise, what they call that white noise, mess with your journey. And we all have one here on earth.
Yeah, I want to. I think it can happen on a different level, not just because people are being haters. Because what I've experienced is people feeling like they're going to lose the fellowship. And the reason why I say that is because, like, that person that you're hanging out with, they may or may not have the mindset to say, hey, I want to work out, or hey, I want to be healthy. But maybe that's the person that you go to brunch with every week,
Mm.
or somebody that you go to Golden Corral with, every Saturday or something like that. And when you change your perspective of how you're going to treat your sacred space, your body, they feel like they're going to lose that fellowship with you, because you're not going to want to do the brunch anymore. You're not going to want to do the buffet anymore. You're not going to want to do those things. And so, for those situations, they may be putting, salt in the game, but it's not necessarily them hating on you. It's just that in their mind, they're like, what am I going to lose if this person, they no longer want to do the things that I like to do. So you just have to, if you want to preserve that friendship. And I'm totally against like saying, oh, well, you got to find new friends, and you got to, I think there's a way to bring those people along.
There is. There
And,
is.
and
You,
yeah, and including them in something that's small. I used to have people all the time invite me to yoga classes. I absolutely don't like yoga, but it's not because I don't like yoga. It's because it makes me fall asleep, and I don't need to be sleeping in the middle of all them people.
but Lisa, you made a really good point because we have, like I say, we had a group of friends that we walked to first watch with. We love breakfast food, so that's how we incorporate them. We walked with them, and then we walked it off, and we ate and had a good time. So, but you're right, you don't have
But those
to.
are also community people too, right? We
Right.
all go to the same gym, and I
Correct.
think that you will eventually find a new tribe. Not saying you don't have to have your old friends, but it's really important that the people that you really surround yourself with, not just in the whole idea of physical wellness, but just people who are really trying to be well in every aspect, because life be life and it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard to navigate, and you got to have that strong community.
And you
yeah,
know what? And also, you also got to be mindful that not everybody is where you're at too. So, you know what I'm saying? People are going to meet you where they are. So you kind of have to give a little to get a little. So,
yeah, yeah. And that just may not be the person, if you feel like you want to preserve that friendship, and you still want to go to Golden Corral, just eat the vegetables. It's okay. It's okay.
And if they tell you, "Oh, you're gonna waste your money," I'm wasting my money. It is
I don't
disgusting.
waste my money, because I'm here. I'm here to fellowship with you. I'm not here to eat the fried chicken, even though the
right,
fried chicken is delicious.
right. That's so funny. But yes.
So we talked about, our catalysts for making us want to be more physically active, focus on that part of our wellness. We talked about the challenges. What are some of the things that are helping you guys stay on this journey?
I guess for me, the whole idea of health is wealth. And more importantly, I am wanting to master every aspect of me.
Mhm.
So that means that I'm in control of everything that happens to me. So if I get sick, or if I have the possibility of being sick and I can control not being sick, to me it's self mastery for me to do whatever it takes for me not to be sick. I want to have a quality of life. And hopefully we'll be able to talk later about, wellness, and being a professional, and things like that. But I want to have a quality of life where I don't want to be 65, retiring, can't walk up the stairs, my knees are bad, I got hip surgery. I don't want that for my life. I want to be like, people who are 90 and still walking around, you know, vibrant. I want to be like, what's the lady, Babette, Chef Babette.
Mhm.
She's like in her 70s or 80s, and she looks
Amazing.
fantastic.
Amazing. She,
That's who I want to be. I don't want to be the old grandmama wearing the muumuu, sitting on the plastic furniture, watching
right.
my stories. I don't want that. I want to continue to be active and vibrant throughout the rest of my life.
Yeah. And
Eileen, what about you?
so for me, it's just like to absorb as much information as I can. you know. And the tips that I have is kind of, I have a backup plan for everything. So, like, if I can't get to the gym, what's my backup plan? What am I going to do if I can't walk outside? So I have a very routine, structured situation going on. So that's what my tips are. Make sure you have a plan, because like my grandmother always said, if you don't have a plan, and plan to fail. So, I try to plan my meals, I try to plan my workouts. One of the things that I have just fallen in love with, this book called Outlive. This book was recommended by our trainer, and I have never, I'm going to read it again because
It's
yeah, it
amazing.
is
We're all reading it. It's just
chapter 11, you guys. I don't know if you have gotten to it, but oh my goodness, well, he really puts together how important exercise is and why people need it after a certain age. And I, I'm just overwhelmed by this book. So that's the book I would recommend to anybody who's trying to get physically fit.
she's
Read
got us
this
all
book.
reading it, and I'm reading it. And I'm like, I don't want to put it down, but I gotta grade some papers. But yeah, it's been amazing. My tips. Okay, it's part of nutrition, but it kind of goes with the wellness, fitness. I had my fitness pal a year or two ago, and it's just like so cumbersome. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do all this. But this time I actually linked it to my Apple Watch. My Apple Watch keeps me abreast of my fitness and how many steps I've walked, what my heart rate is, how many flights of stairs I've taken. So that helps me stay on track, and it connects to my fitness pal because now I actually log my foods. I really have learned about macros, which are like the certain amount of protein, carbs, and fat. That really helps me because now I'm thinking, okay, what foods can I eat that have fiber? I need this amount of fiber, certain amount of fiber, certain amount of good fat. Like I'm like, give me some avocados. I'll never request avocados, but avocados have the good fat. So that app has really helped me a lot in terms of keeping count of my nutrition. So the app, my Fitness Pal, good old my little notebook. I have a fitness notebook.
You got like 10 notebooks on your desk that you do.
I do. I got my fitness notebook. Well, this is my podcast notebook. I got my fitness planner notebook. I got so planning, like you said, planning ahead. This week, my goal is to get 11,000. I know I can get 11,000 steps Monday, Wednesday, and Friday easily. It's just Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I've written out a plan to get those 11,000 steps. So those are the things that are helping me um, try to stay on track. Yeah.
Alice?
So tips for me is definitely, if you do not like working out, and I can say this for sure because I don't like working out, find other ways to be physical. Whether it's, like I said, potty squats, whether it's, I have dogs, I walk my dogs, but sometimes every now and again I pretend like, I'm leaving them, and they'll chase me like, "Mommy, where are you going?" So, that helps me get into running, even if, that's not, in the gym or whatever. I do go to the physical gym, but just be creative, be more, physical, park farther away. Just look at other opportunities for you to
Take the
get your
stairs.
heart rate up. Take the stairs. You know, um, just so many different things. So I would definitely say, um, to find physical activity wherever you are, and be okay with pushing away from the table. I know Ellen and I talked about intermittent fasting, but look at how much food you're intaking. You probably don't need as much as you think you are. I know I'm all over the place. Like, oh, I got a taste for this. Oh, I got and if I could, I would snack all day. But be okay with not giving, like I said, be in control of yourself, discipline yourself, tell yourself no when you have those urges and things like that. And then finally, I would say really stick with a meal plan. Meal planning is difficult, but if you have a time issue, for instance, you work a lot. I know Eileen and I are entrepreneurs, and we have different projects going on, but you got to plan ahead. And that keeps you from being in a place where you eat things that are not healthy because you didn't plan ahead. So it's always about finding creative ways to get exercise in, plan ahead, and, don't eat as much as you think you want to eat.
That's good. That is true.
I will also say, if you ever have an opportunity to study blue zones, blue zones are areas that have a large population of are they centenarians? Is that what?
Centenarians. They're talking about
Yeah,
it in the book. Yeah, my dean told me
yeah,
about that. It's a Netflix special
yeah,
too.
yeah. You just study what they do. A lot of them have physical wellness is top of their priority, but also laughter and having fun with friends is part of what they say makes them successful and live to be over 100 years old.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Those are some great tips and resources for you all. We hope you enjoyed this show, but I do want to mention that before you start any type of physical activity, make sure you go to a doctor because none of us are doctors. We just want make
Not
sure
that
you do
kind.
you make sure you take check with them to make sure it's okay for you to do physical
If you would like
activity.
to continue this conversation with us, please join us in our Facebook group, A World Between, and post any stories that you have, tips, or let us know how you keep physical wellness as your top priority.
So next week, join us. We're going to talk about, I guess the title is Not My Kind of Girl. We're going to talk about what men say they want, but what they really, really want, but they really don't want. Yeah, if that makes sense, just come back and watch us next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Son of July, man, welcome to the scene where we talking about the streets and what's in between. Race, politics, the culture and community. A world divided, but this ties the unity. Entertainment trends.